Welcome everybody to this energetic chat with Max. So if you're on Facebook, click the Zoom link so you can interact with me in real time. So the reason for this is I just wanted to put something together so to kind of deal with some of the questions that we as energetically aware people might have, ones that you might be looking for answers for, but haven't found that. So today we're just like, it's going to be free form. We'll be answering questions and that sort of thing. So go ahead and put your questions in the chat or pop on and ask them. And so the first question was a little bit about the COVID energies that are up. Yeah. Yikes. Woo. So everything that brought up, do you choose to release and let all that go? Yeah, and everything that said no, freeze all, pre-scan all, pre-tag all, pre-ID all, pre-encapsulate all, and all those non-contributive energetic forces, out, 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 blah. Banish, vanquish, banish, vanquish, banish, vanquish, banish, vanquish. Yeah, yikes. Blah. And the thing is there's a lot of gross and yuck energy around that. And you're supposed to be feeling disempowered around COVID. Yeah. And everything that brought up, do you choose to release and let all that go? Yes, I choose that. Vaporize, liquefy, vaporize, liquefy. And when I say supposed to be, it's just like, that's what those energies are. And so what often happens is, if I talk about this as the default, is when you're in a disempowering situation or have a disempowering experience, the default is that you'll feel disempowered. And everything that brought up, do you choose to remove and destroy all that? Yes, I choose that. Woo, vaporize, liquefy, vaporize, liquefy, vaporize, liquefy. And the part that I want you to get about that is to be kind with yourself when you feel discouraged or disempowered, when you don't have a positive experience. Yeah, let all that go, let all that go, let all that go. And so what I look at it is, in order to change a disempowering experience so you can reclaim your power and feel a lot better, is that you have to do processing. You have to look at the experience a different way. You have to put energy into changing it, or changing your feelings around it so you don't feel disempowered. So everywhere you made yourself wrong for feeling disempowered, yikes, do you choose to release and let all that go?
Yes, I choose that.
Yeah, I choose that. Vaporize, liquefy, vaporize, liquefy. Banish, vanquish, banish, vanquish, banish, vanquish, banish, vanquish. Yikes. Yeah. And once again, it's like with these COVID energies that have been up for quite a while. I did a previous little video on that, about how the energies were first came out. It was basically stop everything. And then those energies, a few weeks or a couple months later, it changed to just wait, kind of like a holding pattern. And then like 2 weeks ago or whatever, there was like this really big discouragement energy. You know, because we've been living with this for so long, and it's you know, it's kind of like we're done with it, but we're not really sure what to do. And so everywhere that those larger energies that we're surrounded by have pulled you into those energetic fields. So you felt like you needed to stop. You felt like you needed to wait. And then you're really discouraged. Everything that brought up, do you choose to release and let all that go?
Yes, I choose that.
I choose that. Vaporize, liquefy, vaporize, liquefy. Banish, vanquish, banish, vanquish, banish, vanquish, banish, vanquish. Yeah.
I feel it in the pit of my stomach. Ew, it feels icky.
Yeah. And that's one of the things too, is like sometimes when we start tapping into what's really going on, it can feel really gross. And a lot of the stuff that comes up about being energetically aware is there's certain things that we don't want to know. You know, I think about energies as smelling bad. You know, like there are certain things, like, you know, that certain bathrooms might smell really bad and you don't want to smell that smell. And so maybe you try to use some, you know, scents to try to cover up that bad smell. And sometimes you know, the part that's can be tough is if you don't want to know about negative things or disturbing things that are out there, we can kind of push that away. But until you actually see it and acknowledge it, it's hard to change it. So it's kind of like if there is that bad smell, but you keep covering up or pretending it's not there, you can't get to the root of what that is. Ugh. So everything, all that brought up, do you choose to release and let all that go?
Yes, choose that.
Yes, I choose that. Wow, vaporize, liquefy, vaporize, liquefy, vaporize, liquefy. And that brings us back to this other part, like I talked about, the disempowering things that like experiences that aren't, you know, enlightening, uplifting. The default is disempowering. And the part that around that is, while we often can't change the experience, like this is the part that's kind of weird, is in some ways we can change anything, but we can't, but there's some things we can't change. Now, how can I explain that? And I don't want to use negative language because I don't want to create anything, but it's just like if you're outside in a rainstorm and you're completely soaked, can you instantly change that you're not soaked? Ugh. And everything that brought up, do you choose to release and let all that go?
Choose that.
Yes, I choose that. Vaporize, liquefy, vaporize, liquefy. And what can happen is if you try to change something that can't be changed or can't be changed in this moment, and it's kind of like you put this energy into it, it's almost like you're pushing against a brick wall that doesn't move. So something's going to move, but it's not going to be that brick wall. It's going to be you. And what often happens is when we try to do things that we can't actually change, it makes us feel like we're less powerful or that we're even weak. Ugh. So all the things that you tried to change that weren't changeable or weren't changeable in the moment you tried to change them. Ugh. And everything you decided that means about you. Yikes. Do you choose to release and let all that go?
Yes.
Yes, I choose that. Vaporize, liquefy, vaporize, liquefy, vaporize. Whoa. And so the part I want to say about that is around any experience, there's certain things that you can change. And often it's how you interact with them. And because we also have magical capacities, you can also change the experience, but often not the way that you would like to. And the part I mean about that is like for example, if you know we're out in the rain and we're completely soaked, you can't instantly be not wet, but you can do things that energetically help you from getting more wet, or could help you dry faster, or maybe if you're really wet, you're actually cold. So how could you warm yourself up? And so for any experience that actually isn't changing, you can ask, what can I change around this? Because any experience you can lighten up, which makes it easier to move through. So does that make sense?
Yeah.
Cool. Let's see, any other questions are coming up? Okay. Let's see. And let's see. What is positive consciousness transformation during these viral times? And once again, it's like looking at what we can do to change something, or what we can do to move beyond a disempowering situation. And actually, some of that can be even this asking the question. You know, just putting out the energy is so what positive outcomes from moving through these coronavirus times is now possible? So everywhere it feels like it's not possible. And that's often what happens. And that's another little trick that you can look at, is when you ask for something, you know, to change and you don't feel like there's any energy on it, or there's a resistance energy, is then to first remove the resistance to that changing. So once again, like that kind of goes back to that part about what can change now. And so the way I look at it is sometimes we try to change something before we've done the steps that allow it to change. Woo. Wowza. Yeah, so it's kind of like in any type of process that has certain steps and a certain order for it to happen. If anything's not changing, there's probably a step that needs to be done first. Like, so once again, when I noticed that, because I totally believe 100% that yes, we can actually come out of this coronavirus times more who we would like to be and more powerful. But when I asked to receive information around that, there was a resistance. I wasn't able to get there. We weren't able to get there. Now, once again, it's like, is to not go that there's something wrong or we're not strong enough to do it. It's just to see what's in the way of that. So what's everything in the way of us positively moving through these coronavirus times? Ugh, yeah, so that's a big chunk. Woo, ah. So everything that is, do we choose to remove and destroy all that?
Yes, I choose that.
Yeah, I choose that. Vaporize, liquefy, vaporize, liquefy, vaporize, liquefy. Woo. Oh, okay. Whoa, wow. Okay, it's feeling a lot better. Whew. Yeah. And what is everything else in the way preventing us from positively moving through these coronavirus times? And everything that is vaporize, liquefy, vaporize, liquefy, because that time there wasn't as much. And then one of the things that's also that no one really talks about is when you are, I want to say, constantly surrounded by a situation that either is not going to change or not fully change. So for what can happen is you clear the energies that are blocking change in this moment, but they kind of get recreated. And this is something I've kind of found in situations, how sometimes it's actually easier to clear things from the past because they're not continually being recreated, as opposed to something now that can be continually created. So for example, you know, if you had the problem with a boss in a previous job years ago, we could do some work around that to remove the parts that are sticking you, and you can move forward. But if you're currently having a problem with a boss, and all of you that are having problems with bosses, yikes, and everything that brings up, choose to release and let all that go. Yes, I choose that. Vaporize, liquefy, vaporize, liquefy. So when you're having like a continuing ongoing challenge with a boss or a person, what happens is you maybe do some work around it and you clear it and you're feeling really light, but then challenges come up again. And the thing is, they'll be easier to move through, but it's just to know that because it was those energies were recreated, you know, or re-added into that we just have to do some work to change that. And once again, that for me makes it, you know, while it would be nice to just clear everything and then everything is good going forward, it gives me more of a understanding of me that, oh, I'm totally fine that I'm still having challenges with this person, but I just have to do some clearing to move through it. And you can move through it easier and quicker. And then that's one of the parts too that's tough about these coronavirus times is these energies are permeating pretty much everybody on the planet. Woo. So even if you got completely clear and then you can totally be yourself, you're fully empowered, those energies are just all around you. And so just like how if you're outside and there's wind blowing dirt around, even if you're completely clean, you're going to get some dirt on you. So what do we do as energetically aware people? We do our clearings, releasings, our processes to clear off any dirt or stuff that built up around us. Yeah. Woo. Cool. Let's see. Any other questions for people who are live here?
Hey, Max. It's Crystal.
Hey, Crystal.
So you really helped me a couple weeks ago when I had a question about motivation.
Ooh, yeah. Vaporize, liquefy. Uh-huh.
There might be a little bit left.
Yeah. Woo. Vaporize, liquefy.
Still
And
can't seem to, I mean, I want to say make myself do it, but I feel like that's not the right words.
yeah. So everywhere you should just be able to make yourself do it. Yikes. Woo. Do you choose to remove and destroy all that?
Yes, I choose that.
I choose that. Vaporize, liquefy, vaporize, liquefy, vaporize, liquefy. Whoa. Yeah. And I think one of the things is that motivation is something that we almost all struggle with. Ugh. And actually, I was watching a YouTube video by a person that I follow who does a lot of mind, brain, body, and health parts. And he was talking about motivation, which was really helpful for me today. And a couple of things he said is like, one, motivation comes in waves. Ugh. And everything that brought up, do you choose to release and let all that go?
Yes, I choose that.
Ooh, vaporize, liquefy, banish, vanquish, banish, vanquish, banish, vanquish. So there are going to be certain times where you're riding the top of that wave, that you're excited about what you want to do. And that's one of the, so I'm going to say it's one of the tricks, but it's actually one of the ways that can really help you is to focus in on the total desired outcome of what you want, and then being really honest with the reasons why you want it. So basically what you're looking to do is rediscover that excitement that you would like when you accomplish that. Now, if this is related to work, something that you have to do, vaporize, liquefy, that becomes a little bit harder to find the exciting part around that. And I think the other part, I think when we talked a couple weeks ago, I mentioned that what's kind of crazy is that science has proved that that humans only have between 10 and 20 minutes of motivation a day. So everything that brought up, do you choose to release and let all that go? Yes, I choose that. Retract, rescind, revoke, recant, renounce, make null and void, make null and void, make null and void. And so what's helpful to know about this is, like, for example, if you're, maybe also trying to diet at the same time and you spend 20 minutes trying to avoid eating a cookie, vaporize, liquefy, that can be all the motivation you had all day. And so anything else can be really hard to do. And Tim Ferriss, he's another person that I follow, had talked about this, and basically to be what you would like to do, and I know how hard this is because I have not fully implemented in my life either, is the things that you want to do, you work with them until they become a habit. Because once you have the habit, then that doesn't require that motivation. Okay, so that was some general stuff. So remind me a little bit about what's the motivation part. What are you trying to accomplish that you're really having a hard time accomplishing?
The first thing is a work project, and it's a writing project.
Okay, and are you a good writer, or?
I'm a fairly good writer, but then it's basically like a to-do, like walking people through how to do something. And the material is new for me, so I don't really know how to do it. So I've got to kind of go to other sources to get that information. And I keep procrastinating, and I can't, But I did love your suggestion of 20 minutes, and I got a lot done last time I did do that.
Right. And the thing about procrastination is often procrastination is a symptom of energetic attack.
Oh.
Vaporize, liquefy, vaporize, liquefy. Banish, vanquish, banish, vanquish, banish, vanquish. Yeah. And because one, I mean, and when you're procrastinating, you make yourself feel bad. And the thing is like when there are external forces messing with you, but you think it's you're kind of directing your power against you and not against the forces that are messing with you. So everywhere that's happened in more places than just that, that you've used your power against you and not against the forces that are messing with you. Do you choose to remove and destroy all that?
Yes, I choose that.
I choose that. Vaporize, liquefy, vaporize, liquefy, vaporize. Banish, vanquish, banish, vanquish, banish, vanquish. Yeah, and so I forgot, do you have my This Changes Now or the Crisis Clearing?
I don't. I should probably get that.
Yeah, okay, so the new version is called This Changes Now. And basically that's something that you can play that can help you clear off those energies. And the part that I like about that is you can even play that in the background. And so one of the parts that's another really empowerment tool that I use is knowing that the clearings, releasings that we use always work. And everything that brought up, ugh, do you choose to remove and destroy all that?
Yes, I choose that.
Ooh, vaporize, liquefy, vaporize, liquefy. And that's a belief I fully believe and I'm 100% committed to. Now, that said, sometimes it seems like they don't work. Yeah. And actually, there's a lot more times it seems like they don't work. And there's two things about that. So one is the energetic forces that don't want you to succeed. And that's another part, yeah. And let's go into that. Yeah, so why are energetic forces messing with you? Yeah, and a lot of people are going, why are they? I'm having a hard enough time with my life as it is. Why would they mess with me? Woo. Yeah, because what actually is going on is you're so much stronger and you can create so much more change, not only for your life, but in the world. And there are many forces that don't want that. Yeah. And everything that brought up, do you choose to release and let all that go? Yeah, I choose that.
Yes,
vaporize,
I choose
liquefy, that. Vaporize, liquefy, vaporize, liquefy. And so the thing is like if they prevent you from doing even just the basic things that you need to do, that makes it really hard for you to change your life and change the lives of people around you in a really positive way. And the thing is you have those capabilities. And the energetic forces use manipulation and trickery to make you think that you don't have that power, and also to make you think that the energetic clearings and releasings you're doing or listening to aren't working, so you stop. Yeah. So all the places that you thought the energetic clearings weren't working, so you just stopped. You just gave up. Yikes. Do you choose to release and let all that go?
Yes, I choose that.
Yeah, I choose that. Vaporize, liquefy, vaporize, liquefy. And so that's the place that I definitely use my This Changes Now energetic releasing audio. Because like when I'm having one of those super tough days and it doesn't seem like it's working, I press play on low and then watch Netflix or do whatever I need to do just to exist. And I just know that that's working in the background to change it. And then the other part about why it sometimes seems like it doesn't work is just like my analogy of the rain. If you're outside in the rain and it's pouring, that super pouring rain where it can't pour any harder. If you lighten that rain up 50%, it's still raining pretty hard. And that's kind of like when we're trying to remove like a lot of energetic stuff. If you remove half of it, there still seems like there's a lot there. And if you're only focusing on, oh, it's still raining, I'm still getting wet, you're not really, you stop instead of just keep going till, release another 50% and another 50%. And then it's like that light drizzle that's around there. Cool. Yeah. And then the other part about when you're doing projects that you don't want to do, and we all have those, is to ask the question, how could this be fun? Or how could this be easy? Whew. Yeah. Because what often happens is we're doing this is going, and what do we say? And that's one of the parts about, I also look at language is magic spells that create your reality. Woo. And what often happens when we're doing a project we don't want to do, what do we say? I don't want to do this project. This is so hard. I so wish this would be over. And everything that brought up, do you choose to release and let all that go?
Yes.
Yes, I choose that. Vaporize, liquefy, vaporize, liquefy, vaporize, liquefy. Yeah. And so it's to change that mindset to, even though it doesn't feel fun, it doesn't feel easy, you could ask like, how could this be fun? How could this be easy? And then the other one I play with is if you already knew how to do this, or you already knew the next step, what would that be?
I like that question.
Because the thing is, like when you were talking about the things you needed to do, the limiting part seems like you didn't have it all figured out yet.
Yeah.
But the research part and that stuff, that felt really light. So you totally have the capabilities to do that.
Thank you. So what was your question again? If I already knew how to do this, what would it feel like?
Or what would the next step be?
Okay.
Or if this was easy, what would I do? Because once again, like the language that we're using, it's often like, I don't know the next step, or this is so difficult. you know, but the part is like, oh, if I did know this next step, what would that be? And then one of the other parts that we're often so afraid of making mistakes that, you know, we don't do the next thing until we know or we're sure what that is. And especially like things like with writing or creative projects, sometimes it's even just starting, even putting down the wrong thing can really help you move forward. Like I was working with one of a writer client, and the part about like for writer's block. And my suggestion for that is, you know, what is the most stupid thing you could write next? Vaporize, liquefy, vaporize, liquefy. And that might work for you too on the business thing. You know, what is the most stupid thing that you could say? Or what's like the most absolute wrong thing for someone to do right here at this step? Vaporize, liquefy. And then you don't go, you know, you write that down, and then often that'll give you the next place to go. Or it's the part about like momentum, once you get started, keeps carrying you forward. But when you're stopped, even taking a wrong step, even going the completely wrong direction when you're stopped, makes it easier for you to then go in the right direction. Yeah. Cool. And so now, what comes up around accomplishing 5 times more on your project today than you thought you could?
It feels like I can do it. It's like I'm seeing myself actually working on it.
Yeah. Yeah. And then the other part, don't know if we talked about this before, is what if you can also give yourself rewards for accomplishing part of the task? Ah. And everything that brought up, G, choose to release and let all that go.
Yes.
Vaporize, liquefy, vaporize, liquefy. And I've used this before too for things that I really didn't want to do, but I really wanted to accomplish. I mean, and the reward can be anything from something you already were going to do. You know, the reward could be something that you actually want to do too. Like, you know, you want to make sure you get a walk in today. Even if you don't want to go for a walk, you can give yourself that as a reward. Or it could be even bigger things. You know, you've been wanting to buy a new electronic thing. And it's like, oh, as soon as I accomplish this project, I get to buy this. It's kind of like you're being the parent to yourself, giving yourself a reward or an incentive to do it.
I like it.
Yeah. And it's also a good reason to treat yourself for something that you want anyway. It gives yourself, you know, justification for things that you might, you know, that you probably should treat yourself for anyway. A massage or, yeah, a nice meal out.
Okay. Thank you so much, Max.
You're welcome. Yeah. Next questions. Looks like everybody's muted. But if you have a question, and right, there's no right or wrong questions. There's no too easy, too simple questions. And that's one of the things that's actually, it's kind of cool, is sometimes when I'm working with brand new people and helping them understand something that, you know, is simple or I've been talking about for a long time, I understand it on a deeper level. Yeah. And so often things that, or those questions that, you know, oh gosh, I've been following Max for a long time, I should know this. There's nothing like that. It's like, this is the time that it needs to come up for you and, or even other people on the call. Because sometimes that will happen too. You'll ask a question that you're like, I kind of want to know this, but it's not a big deal. But it'll actually be a really big deal to other people who are listening to this. Cool.
Well, Max,
Yeah.
I've had experiences recently of people around me, and I realized that were being jerks, and I was realizing they were being influenced by you know, forces, and
yeah,
I've been working on clearing some of that.
Cool. And that's a good thing to bring up too, because one of the things that a lot of light workers and other kind of power people say that you can't clear energies or energetic forces from other people. And the part is like, that's true on one level. But what I've found is that if energetic forces are messing with other people intentionally to mess with you, and that happens more to us powerful people than you might think, that gives you full permission to kick them out. So everywhere that you've been waiting for or looking for permission, that you have permission to kick these energetic forces out. And they've specifically been messing with these people to mess with you. Do you choose to remove and destroy everywhere you are waiting for permission?
Yes, I choose that.
Retract, rescind, revoke, recant, renounce, make null and void, make null and void, make null and void. Yeah, and I specifically address this in the This Changes Now, because I found that there were a lot of forces messing with other people to mess with me. So all the energetic forces that are messing with you, they're messing with or through other people or other energies to mess with you. Freeze all, pre-scan all, pre-tag all, pre-ID all, pre-encapsulate all. Woo. And is it okay to remove all these non-contributive energies and frequencies?
Yes, I choose it.
Out, 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 out. Banish, vanquish, banish, vanquish, banish, vanquish, banish, vanquish. Yeah, and the other part is just to know if you're trying to kick something out and those people have an agreement with that. There's certain ones that, even if you there's certain ones that you can't fully kick out. But when you're kicking out the ones that are messing with them to mess with you, even the ones that they have agreements with that you can't fully kick out, you're kind of like just letting them know it's not okay to mess with you, and they're going to get this energetic pushback.
Okay. Yeah, that feels good.
Yeah, and so it's kind of like, so I don't believe that we can do, as long as you're being a positive person, not trying to intentionally, hurt innocent people, anything that you do is going to be a contribution. And if you try to do something that wouldn't be a contribution, it just doesn't happen. So you don't have to be afraid of trying to clear too much. My default, and that's one thing that we didn't do when we first came on the call, but I do in all my sessions, is clearing everything that's up that we can just easily change and clear. Because there's some stuff that like our bodies and our beings just want to release. Our bodies don't want to carry this stuff around, and they're often just looking for a permission, a reason, or just a slight little push or pull. And they're like, oh yeah, totally, that feels good. Just let that go. Woo. So everything that's up and active that would be a contribution for you or a contribution for your body to release or let go, do you choose just to go ahead and release and let all that go?
Yes, I choose that.
Yes, I choose that. Vaporize, liquefy, vaporize, liquefy, vaporize.
Well, some people have said you can't clear those energies out of people that you're close to.
I don't think that's it. Is it? Let's see. Okay. Were they trying to get at something else? Oh, okay. So one of the parts that can come up around people that we're close to is that you're more invested in their outcome and their choices than you are of somebody else. And when you're invested in the outcome or you want their choice to be a certain way. Now, this is really true. Like if you have a family member or a partner that's doing something that's not a contribution to them. They're drinking too much, they're smoking too much, they have anger issues. Blah. Yeah, and you really want that to change. Anytime you have significance around something, it makes it harder for it to change. Because basically you're energetically coming at them with, you need to change this specific way. So even if it's one of those ones that they would like to choose, like my example is, I like chocolate cake. But if somebody came up to me, even my best friend, and with a really tasty chocolate cake, shoved it in my face and said, eat this, this is great, you have to eat this, I'd be like, no, no, even though I really would like to. And so what the part is about that is to try to take off any preconceived notions that they have to change this way. And I get that it's really hard with family members, especially, or people you're close to, because you're so invested, you so want them to be good. And one of the parts that you can change is kind of have like an energetic discussion with them. It's kind of like, so instead of like, clearing those entities or energies, it's more like, let's see, how can I say that? If you're and I, infinite being, were talking, which of these energies would you also agree that you want to be removed? Right. And then all of those remove and destroy. So basically you're bringing them into the discussion, and it's not pre-deciding that this one energy that's really, that needs to go is going to go. It's asking them what's the contribution. And that removes the resistance to that. And the thing is even just lightening up stuff a little bit, removing just like a few of those energies can make things so much easier for you and for them. Yeah.
Yeah. Thank you.
You're welcome. Yeah, next question. Anyone else have a question?
So Max, I've had a recurring cough.
Blah.
And yeah, it's not good, but it comes and goes and comes and goes. And is it allergies, or is it just either something in me or something messing with me? Is there a way to clear?
Well, and once again, it's just like one of the parts about energies and energetic forces. If you have anything that's already an upset or a challenge, it's easy for them to push that button, to make that worse, or to mess with that, and why is that? Well, it's just kind of like, like when you're in grade school, and either you get a haircut or something. It's just one thing that people can easily tease you about. Blah. So everything that brought up, you choose to remove and destroy all that. Blah. Retract, rescind, revoke, recant, renounce, make null and void, make null and void, make null and void. Blah. Yikes, yuck, 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 yuck. Yeah. And so all the places energetic forces are messing with you around your cough. Freeze all, pre-scan all, pre-tag all, pre-ID all, pre-encapsulate all. And what is everything these energies said, agreed, or was implied or assumed that they would do for you? And what is everything that you said, agreed, or applied or assumed they would do for you? And all the other energetic forces that are messing with you or anybody else on this call. Freeze all, pre-scan all, pre-tag all, pre-ID all, pre-encapsulate all. And if there's anything else required to remove these non-contributive energies and frequencies, we complete all those steps and processes to your and your body's authentic advantage. And all those non-contributive energies and frequencies out from your body, out from your being, out from all bodies, out from all beings, out from all realities, dimensions, time streams, data streams, and virtual and simulated realities. Out, 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 out. Banish, vanquish, banish, vanquish, banish, vanquish, banish, vanquish. Huh. Okay. Cool.
Thank you.
And what is everything you decided this cough is, that this cough actually isn't? And what is everything you decided this cough isn't, that this cough actually is? And all of that, do you choose to remove and destroy all that?
I choose that, yes, I choose that.
Retract, rescind, revoke, recant, renounce, make null and void, make null and void, make null and void, make null and void. Yeah. And so what information would be a contribution to changing this cough? And everything that just brought up, do you choose to remove and destroy all that?
Yes, I choose that.
What contributive information would be a contribution to changing this cough? And everything that's still resisting that, vaporize, liquefy, vaporize, liquefy, vaporize. What contributive information would be a contribution to changing your cough? Ooh, and then receive. Receive, receive, receive. Let's see, so how much of this cough is allergies? How much of this cough is something else? How much of this cough is an actual health condition? How much is it something else? Ooh. Ooh. So all the something else's around this, do you choose to release and let all those go?
Yes, I choose.
Yeah, vaporize, liquefy, vaporize, liquefy, vaporize, liquefy. Ah. Yikes. Dissipate, 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 dissipate. Ooh. Ooh. And so what things are coming up around having a cough right now?
Yeah, so
Yeah.
so I got really, really ill over the last few days.
Yeah.
And yeah, so, and I've got a bunch of tests yesterday, so I know it's not anything bad or underlying. I know I don't have COVID. I know I don't have
Okay.
brain stuff. But it's like I'm tired of coughing.
Ah.
It's, I've been coughing for what feels like 2 years.
Yeah. Yeah. Can you say I'm tired of coughing 3 times?
I'm tired of coughing. I'm tired of coughing. I'm tired of coughing.
So all the Shiku implants, explants, Wernicke commands, stacks, triggers, hooks, triggers, and implants around this. Do you choose to remove and destroy all that?
I choose all that.
Yeah. Vaporize, liquefy, retract, rescind, revoke, recant, renounce, make null and void, make null and void, make null and void. Ooh. And I forgot, do you have the Be Healthy Now or Speeding Your Body's Healing audios?
I don't know if I do or not.
Yeah, I would check into that. If you have those, do that, or you can actually check on my website. And so one of the ones,
yeah, check and see.
Yeah, one of the first ones is, anytime that you don't want something, is to check the language. Like, when you say something like "I'm tired of this cough," your body can hear "tired." So it makes it hard, a lot less energy. And then the other one is there's a difference. I talk about this in my full Speeding Your Body's Natural Healing course, is that when you try to, what we often do is like, I don't want this cough. I want this cough to stop. And that can be hard to do because it's just stopping something. But how can the cough change into something that works for you?
Yeah.
Or how can this cough change? And the part that I like about that is because that allows it, what if you could, what if by tomorrow you're coughing half as much? Yeah. Right. So everywhere coughing half as much still isn't damn good enough. Woo! You choose to remove and destroy all that.
Yes, I choose that.
Vaporize, liquefy, vaporize, liquefy. Yeah, and that's one of the ones that can stick long-term health conditions is the small change is not good enough because you've been dealing with it for so long. But in order to have the huge change that you like, we have to have that small change first. And everything that brings up, you choose to remove and destroy all that. Retract, rescind, revoke, recant, renounce, make null and void, make null and void, make null and void. Yeah. And I get it. And the thing is like things can change a lot more quickly than we believe. And also something that's been there for a long time might require longer than we would like. Vaporize, liquefy, vaporize, liquefy, vaporize. Yeah. Yeah. So what would have to change today so you know that you're on the healing path? That feels possible. So what's something you would know? Yeah. Or it doesn't, I mean, it could be conscious or it could be, you know, just an energy, something that you know that you're on the healing path. Yeah. And what I was getting there is I think your body just wanted to know that, yes, you're on the healing
possible.
path. And it's just like, and taking that pressure off that, yes.
Yeah.
Cool.
Yeah.
Yeah. Anything else coming up around that?
Thanks.
Okay, cool. Any other questions? We have time for a couple more.
Hi, Max. It's Autumn. How are you?
Hey, Autumn. I'm doing well.
Hey,
Thanks.
good. Thank you. I'm glad I caught you. I just saw it on Facebook and I was like, yes. I'm having the weirdest thing happen to me, and I've had it before, but it's been a long time. I'm communicating with someone who's a really big contribution. I like them. And I'm locking up in communication with them, and I'm vomiting out, essentially. This is embarrassing. Like I kind of vomited out like my feelings, but it's like a panic attack almost, or I shut down and I don't understand what's happening. It's freaking me out. Like I can't seem to stop it. Like it's getting worse. Yeah.
So everything that's up and active around this, do you choose to remove and destroy all that?
Yes, I choose that.
Yeah, retract, rescind, revoke, recant, renounce, make null and void, make null and void, make
null
and void.
Void.
Yeah, let all that go. That's a lot of energy. Wowza. Yeah. And everywhere you've already pre-decided that there's something wrong with you.
Yeah, it's bad.
Gross. You choose to remove and destroy all that.
Yes, I choose
vaporize, liquefy, vaporize, liquefy. Because once again, that's one of the main ways is that this reality is designed to disempower kind, caring, and magical people. Is to have the default, and it's true for all of us. It's not just you, Autumn. I'm just bringing this up.
Yes.
It's true for all of us that the default for why anything isn't working in your life is that there's something wrong with you. So everything that is, do you choose to remove and destroy all that?
Yes, I choose that.
Retract, rescind, revoke, recant, renounce, make null and void, make null and void, make null and void. And it's actually the biggest lie that we've ever bought and that we've ever been sold. And the part is like, because it's that default thing, it keeps coming. It takes a lot of clearing, takes years of working through that. And it comes up in sneaky ways. You know, I learned about this first like 6 years ago. And, you know, then starting about 4 years ago, I was able to clear most of it, but it comes up in sneaky ways. And it really can come up, like, especially when you made what seems like a mistake, or especially like when we say something that hurts somebody. That's when I still get it. You know, I say something that hurts somebody's feelings. I didn't mean it, you know, and it's hard not to go into that place. But there's a couple things I think are coming on here. So the first one is, where is everywhere you bought from false light and light and ascended ways of thinking that you have to always tell the truth, and you have to volunteer things. You have to volunteer things. Yikes. So everything that brought up, do you choose to remove and destroy all that?
Wow. Yes, I choose that.
Vaporize, liquefy. And everywhere that you were told that if you don't tell the whole truth, if you leave things out, that means you're lying. Do you choose to remove and destroy all that?
Yes, I choose that. That really
Retract,
resonates.
rescind, revoke, recant, renounce, make null and void.
Yes, I choose that.
Yes, I choose that.
Yeah, because that's the other part that we kind of were brought up like that with our parents, that you had to like say everything. If you didn't say something, that meant you were lying. But especially now, now that we know what's going on, it's really easy for us because we want to be on the side of good. You know, we want to be these light, expansive, positive people that we often volunteer more than it's actually a contribution to us.
Yeah,
so everywhere you've been volunteering more information than is a contribution to you, Do you choose to remove and destroy all that?
Yes, I choose that.
I choose that. Vaporize, liquefy, vaporize.
Vaporize, liquefy,
Yeah, and
vaporize,
that's something we
liquefy.
all do. We all do that. Yeah. And the part is to look at that is when you do overshare like that is to, when you notice it, look at that and go, oh, could I do something different next time?
Okay.
Because what often happens is like there's this contributive part of looking back at something that was a mistake to analyze it so you don't do it again. But the hook is we often get caught in, oh, I shouldn't have done that. Oh, I'm bad. I shouldn't have done that. I'm bad.
Yeah.
Ooh. So all the I shouldn't have done that. That means I'm bad. You choose to remove and destroy all that.
Yes, I choose that. I heard a no,
Yes,
but
I choose that.
Yes,
Retract,
yes,
rescind,
yes.
revoke, recant, renounce, make null and void, make null and
Null,
void, make null.
announce, announce.
Woo.
Null, void, null, void, null, void, void, null, and void.
Yeah. And then the part is like, ideally, you know, and I know this is hard, but when we're talking about somebody and we want to share something, you know, so what often happens is we have like an awareness about something, or, you know, maybe it's somebody that we really like and we want to tell them how much we like them, is to energetically ask, is this a contribution to the relationship to share?
Oh.
And then the trick around that sometimes is to ask the opposite. So I don't always get a super good read. It's like, is this a contribution for me to share? And the reason why is we often have a preconceived notion of the way it wants to go. You know, we have a preconceived notion that we do want to share this information. And so the trick around that is to say, if you didn't already decide that you wanted to share this information, is this a contribution to share this information?
Oh, wow. Okay.
Yeah. And everywhere it wasn't, you choose to remove and destroy all that.
Yes, I choose that.
Vaporize, liquefy, vaporize, liquefy. And it's not to make yourself wrong. I mean, and that's the part that there's a difference between striving to be better than you are today and then making yourself wrong for not already being better today.
Yeah.
So everywhere you've been making yourself wrong because you're not where you would like to be. Ugh. Do you choose to remove and destroy all that? Ugh.
Yes, I choose that.
That's gross. Retract, rescind, revoke, recant, renounce, make null and void, make null and void, make null and void. And once again, we all have that. You know,
yeah.
Would I like to be a year further? Would I like to be as aware and as powerful as I'm going to be in a year today? Yeah. But there's this difference that most of us look at, I want to be this way, and then we judge ourselves wrongly for not already being there. Ugh. Yeah, there you go. Vaporize, liquefy, vaporize, liquefy. And so it's to be as kind and caring with yourself as you can be as you work to be better. Yeah. And then the other part about communication is that's also one thing too, is to work about clearing anything that's messing between your authentic communication with this person and this person's authentic communication with you. Ugh. Oh. So everything that's messing with that authentic communication. Ugh. Yikes. Do you choose to remove and destroy all that?
Yes, I choose that.
Yeah, retract, rescind, revoke, recant, renounce, make null and void. Make null and void, make null and void.
Null and void. Wow.
Yeah.
Oh, thanks.
So what comes up around the communication stuff with this person now?
Getting it right. Like, I do feel lighter though. It's like getting it right. Like, I'm afraid I'm going to leave something out, but then I want to be brief. And then I wait to write because it's like a whole loop. Like I'm going to fail because I'm waiting too long. And then like, I'm going to do it wrong. And it's weird.
And the part is like, anytime you're trying to get it perfect, it pulls you out of being authentic.
Yeah.
Because if you're going to be authentic, there are going to be things that aren't perfect. Yeah. Okay. So everywhere you were told and bought that if you were fully authentic, things would be perfect, things would work out. You choose to remove and destroy all that.
Yes, I choose.
Yeah. Vaporize, liquefy, vaporize, liquefy, vaporize, liquefy. And it's kind of like this part is, which is really tough, is things that you really want, we make really significant. You know, you want communication to go well. So, you know, you make it really significant that you have to get everything right, which can, surprisingly, force you to put in things that actually make the communication worse. Blah. And everything that brought up, do you choose to release and let all that go?
That makes sense.
Yeah, vaporize, liquefy, vaporize.
Yes, I choose that.
And the part is like knowing all this stuff. So how do you actually apply it? Yeah, and it doesn't mean you just type out the fastest email to this person and send it off. It's, you know, typing it out, doing your, you know, looking over it, seeing, making sure it can be understood in the right way. And then you can be playing with energetically clearing stuff. You know, energetically clearing anything that's messing with you and this person, and anything that's messing with you and putting out the words that would be a contribution. Vaporize, liquefy, vaporize, liquefy.
Vaporize, liquefy.
And so it's also kind of like energetically clearing information that you're sending to them.
Oh, okay.
Because sometimes that stuff can come up. You know, it's interesting. I talked about that in, you know, one of my other emails about how looking at information can change. Things, emails that triggered you at one time, you look back at them and you see that, wait, why is that so triggering? And we can often make ourselves wrong around that. It's like, why did I get so triggered about this email? I'm reading it now and there's nothing there.
Yeah.
Well, you know, what I've found is that often when you get upset, the people who put negative energies into the email the first time, they wipe that out. So it makes you second guess yourself, whoa, that you got triggered for no reason. Blah. So all the places you thought you were triggered for no reason, when they actually were negative energies and energies messing with you that they then later changed. Oh, wowza. Do you choose to remove and destroy all that? Woo.
Yes, I choose that.
Wow. Vaporize, liquefy, vaporize, liquefy, vaporize.
Vaporize, liquefy, vaporize.
Woo. Yeah. So that's reverberating through a lot of stuff. Woo.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah. And it's just to know, like, once again, like I was talking in the beginning about how energetic forces, if you have strong emotions, strong feelings, strong points of view, they'll use that. They'll just push on it. They'll poke on it to mess with it. And once again, it's not like you have to worry about, like, that's the other part that sometimes comes up is when I start talking about these energetic forces that are all around us. They're always there. It's like, holy fuck, what do I do? Well, the thing is you've been dealing with them your entire life. And if you don't acknowledge them, it makes it seem like there's something wrong with you. There's a limitation in you while you have all this stuff. And it's just to kind of just acknowledge that anything that you're going to do, there's an energetic component to it. And maybe another way to look at it is it's kind of like there's peer pressure around you. You know, you're writing an email and you think it's just you and the computer typing this email, but there are other, you could kind of picture that there are other people around you. You know, I don't want to say like gangsters and I don't want to say friends, but somewhere in between that they just have their point of view about what they want to happen. And they're around you talking. You know, and so if you're around, if they're talking, even if you don't think you're listening to them, they're influencing you. So it's just kind of like, oh, it's just to notice that if something's not working right, not going smoothly, most likely though there are those energies and voices just like in and around the area, not like, you know, totally messing with you or not like making it so you can't do it, but it's just like, oh, you need to turn the volume down. You need to just clear them out, have them leave the room. And that's how I look at energetic forces. It's not anything, you know, the majority of them, it's not any big deal. It's just like, you know, that annoying peer pressure, just talking to you, wanting you to do something that they want you to do, which may or may not be in your best interest. And it's usually not in your best interest.
Absolutely. Thank you.
Mm-hmm.
If you like, what I'm struggling with a little bit is like, it wasn't a contribution for me to send the email the way that I did, but I don't want to make myself wrong because that's part of the problem. So like, how do I?
Okay. So one of the things that's also good to do about that is to energetically ask,
Okay.
If I didn't decide I needed to apologize, is it a contribution for me to apologize?
Okay.
So
Right.
I'm getting a no to that.
Yeah, I did too.
But I mean, I did that. You know, I was thinking about that, sending a message to a friend who was really concerned about, you know, having a positive COVID test. And I thought I was just say, hey, I'm kind of like, I love you no matter what. But I started to type it and I go, is this a contribution to send it? And it was like, no. And it was just like, so even what something that seems like it could be a nice, kind gesture might not be an energetic contribution.
Yeah.
Yeah. And that doesn't mean that, you know, once again, it doesn't mean like if you do something wrong, you still don't apologize, but energetically ask about that if it's a contribution. Okay. And then that's a good one that you can do. Like I said, that ask the opposite first. If you didn't already decide you should send an apology email, is it a contribution to send an apology email? Yeah, that's even more of a no that time.
It's like super no. Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
Yeah. And then the other part is that, you know, sometimes things we do, there's not a coming back from. You know, and I'm not saying this about you, but it's something like I found that as a kind, caring person, it can be really hard for me to know. Like earlier this year, I said something to somebody, to a friend, and then later she said, oh, because of what you said, I don't want to be friends with you anymore. And I was like, I don't even know what I said, you know?
Oh.
But I looked at that and I go, okay, well, if I really did say something that was so upsetting to this person and they weren't willing to talk to me, you know, is it okay for me to let that go? And I didn't want to, because I always want people to like me, you know? And if there's something I did wrong, I mean, I think I reached out and I said, hey, if I did something wrong, please let me know so I can correct it. But it's just like, okay, so I have to let that go. Yeah. And so what's everything else in the way of authentic, contributive communication between you and people that you would like to communicate with? Blah. And everything that is, do you choose to remove and destroy all that?
Yes, I choose that.
Retract, rescind, revoke, recant,
recant, rescind,
vaporize,
vaporize,
liquefy,
vaporize,
banish,
liquefy,
vanquish,
banish, vanquish, banish, vanquish, banish, vanquish.
Yeah, and you could also ask, is there something else I could do? I mean, that's the other part too that I've done for even for people who it's not a contribution for me to email. You can energetically apologize. You can energetically send what you really wanted to send. You can energetically withdraw what you said.
Oh, wow.
Yeah.
Okay.
And that just changes some stuff up.
Okay.
You know.
Thank you.
Yeah.
That's helpful. Thank you.
You're welcome.
I appreciate it. Thank you.
Yeah, and anybody else? I think we have time for maybe one more question. And it's okay if you already asked a question too. You can ask another one.
I've got one.
Okay.
Somebody suggested to me the other day that, because I've been doing a lot of readings, that I have the option to refuse. I have the right to refuse giving somebody a reading, but I'm having a problem figuring out. Well, I'm worried about when that's going to happen, because it probably will, but how to say it nicely.
Yeah. Okay.
You know,
so everywhere you already decided that you're going to have to reject a reading. Yeah. Do you choose to remove and destroy all that?
Yes, I choose that.
Vaporize, liquefy, vaporize, liquefy. Retract, rescind, revoke, recant, renounce, make null and void, make null and void, make null and void. And once again, that's a challenge that many healers, energy workers, that sort of stuff have. Basically, you have this gift. You're supposed to give it to everybody. You know, you're supposed to give it to them whether they can pay you or not, whether it's a contribution to you or not. Ugh. Yeah. So everywhere that you still have to help people, even when it's not a contribution to you. Ugh. Yeah. Yeah. Yikes. Do you choose to remove and destroy all that? Ugh.
Yes, I choose that.
Vaporize, liquefy, vaporize, liquefy. Banish, vanquish, banish, vanquish, banish, vanquish, banish, vanquish. Ugh. Yikes. Ugh, that's gross. Ugh. And it's not just you. And so let's see. So there's a couple things about that. So one, if you can energetically ask, is this a contribution to me to give this person a reading? And then sometimes when we're having a hard time, like, well, it's not okay for me to do that, is you can ask, is it a contribution for you and the planet to give this reading? Ugh. Okay, because then that's kind of like you're bringing in the whole collective, because for a lot of us that want to be supportive and helpful and, even suffer to help people in the world, when you bring in the planet, which is everybody in the world, that can make it easier to, oh, well, it's not a contribution to the planet or me to give this person a reading. So it makes it easier to say no. And then the other part is to come up with, it's also good to predefine what's a way to say when you have something negative come up. It could be, it's just like, I already don't, I can't do this reading for you. I know somebody who might be able to. Do you want to reach out to them? Or I tapped in and I'm not getting any information that's going to be helpful for you. Or you can play with that.
Yeah.
And then once again, having something set up before you get into a stressful situation where you have to say no is really helpful.
Okay. Yeah.
And then this also comes up that even if you get that it's not a contribution to do this reading for you and the planet, and you still give that reading, you don't have to make yourself wrong for that. Because that's one of the things too, that's one of my tricks around increasing your awareness, is not pre-deciding that you have to do what your awareness tells you. So everywhere that you have to do what your awareness tells you, and everything that brings up, choose, remove, and destroy all that.
Yes, I choose.
Retract, rescind, revoke, recant, renounce, make null and void, make null and void, make null and void. Yeah, because that works on multiple levels. Because one, if you decided that you have to do what your awareness tells you and you don't do it, then it's easy to make yourself wrong or beat yourself up. And then the other part, if you really want to do something and your awareness says, and you have to listen to your awareness, you're not going to get the read you want. This often happens a lot, I'm going to say, with sex, where it's like, oh, I so want to have sex with this person. Tap into the awareness. Oh yeah, I'm getting light. It's like, well, you already decided you wanted that. And so if you allow yourself the full freedom, you can tap into, oh, is it a contribution to sleep with this person? Whoa, no, it's not. Am I still going to do it? You still have that option. And that also gives you more freedom to increase your awareness, because you're basically saying, I want to be aware of everything, even if it's something I don't want to be aware of. So all the things that you don't want to be aware of, that would be a contribution for you to be aware of. Oh, yikes. Do you choose to remove and destroy all that?
Yes, I choose that.
I choose that. Retract, rescind, revoke, recant, renounce, make null and void, make null and void, make null and void. And that's one of the things that I do in most of my stuff, is I ask to be aware of everything that would be a contribution for me to be aware of. And that contribution can be things I don't really want to know about, but it would be a contribution. Because there's also a lot of crap out there that it doesn't help for you to be aware of it. So everything that brought up, do you choose to release and let all that go?
Yes, I choose that.
Vaporize, liquefy.
Yes,
and it's not to mean that we ignore it, but as an energetic being, if you're aware of all these non-contributive things, that can really prevent you from making the change you came here to create, making this world a better place. Because if something really negative stops you, and sometimes it does for me, it's like, I watch a little video, or I hear some terrible news and I can't do anything for a day or two. Vaporize, liquefy, vaporize, liquefy. That takes me away from helping people on the planet. And it's not to mean I shut that off and pretend like everything is happy. No, I don't do that. but it's just like, is this a contribution for me to know about? Cool.
Wow.
Awesome.
That was awesome. Thank you.
You're welcome. Yeah, well, thanks everybody for joining with me today. And those are some great questions. So what's everything else that we would change and clear if we were going to continue this energetic chat with Max for another hour? Wowza. And all of that would be a contribution to you, your body, and your being. Do you choose to release and clear all of that?
Yes, I choose that.
Yeah, choose that. Vaporize, liquefy, vaporize, liquefy, vaporize.
Vaporize, liquefy, vaporize, liquefy,
And what are all the yummy, nurturing, supportive, healing, and loving energies that we would receive from the universe if we were going to do nothing but receive supportive, healing, nurturing, and loving energies from the universe for a whole hour? And then just receive full spectrum, full bandwidth, loving, supportive, nurturing, and healing energies, and only the ones that you and your body would like to receive. Receive, receive, receive. Well, thanks everybody. And if you have any questions of stuff that came up on this call or any of the audios that I talked about, just leave me a comment or message me and I'm happy to help. Talk to you again soon.
Thank you. Thank you, Max. Thank you so much. Thank you.
Thank you, Max.
Bye.
Bye, everybody.
Bye.
Bye.